guys, welcome back to Threading Glue Designs. Today we're going to continue our look at the origins of various Bible translations. We are going to work with the NIV, the TNIV, and the NIV 1 today. And so let's just dive in. The version that I have is an older version, and I'll tell you it's copyright. Notice of copyright, permissions. Copyright is 1973, 1978, and 1984 by Zondervan. The end of paragraph referencing system has a different copyright. The concordance a different one. Maps a different one. And published by Zondervan. Okay, so let's look at what we know about this version. And from what I can find is that the NIV Bible began being written in 1956. It was done so by a small committee, and it became a project of the National Association of Evangelicals in 1957. It was an English translation, first published in 1978. It began with a team of 15 biblical scholars from a variety of denominations, and they worked on the oldest copies of text written in Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek. The purpose of this translation was to accurately translate the Bible into a readable modern English translation. Okay, and it was published by Zondervan in the USA and Hodder and Stogaton in the UK. The NIV version was updated in 1984 and in 2011. This translation has become the best-selling modern translation that we know of so far. Um, in 2011, the updated version released with both 1984 and the TNIV being discontinued in them. The the update changed and dropped some of the gender neutral language, including going back to using words like mankind and man instead of human beings and people. According to Mr. Keith Danby, he's the executive officer of Biblia, he said that they failed in the TNIV to convince people the re- the revisions were needed and underestimated the reader's loyalty to the 1984 edition. In 1996, a New International Reader's Version, NIRV, was published. It was written at a third grade reading level. In 1999, a complete Spanish translation was published called the NVI. In 2001, the Nova Versão International was published in Portuguese. The core translation group consisted of only 15 biblical scholars. It took them 10 years, along with a team under them of over 100 scholars from all over the world. The NIV is said to be a balance between word for word and thought for thought. More than 450 million copies have been sold worldwide. It is available in numerous study Bibles with extensive notes, and nonetheless, the NIV has been criticized by several for its inaccurate translations. One such critique was in 2009. The New Testament scholar N.T. Wright wrote that the NIV obscured what Paul the Apostle was saying, making sure that Paul's words conform to Protestant and evangelical tradition. He claims if a church only or mainly relies on the NIV, it will, quite simply, never understand what Paul was talking about, especially in Galatians and Romans. In support of this claim, Wright mentions specifically several verses of Romans 3, which he suggests do not convey how righteousness refers to the covenant faithfulness of God or reflect his own thinking about the uh, epistles Christou debate. All editions of the NIV have given God's faithfulness as the heading for Romans 3 1 through 8. Wright's specific objection concerning verses later in the chapter no longer apply to the 2011 revision of the NIV, and moreover, it offers the faithfulness of Jesus Christ as an alternative translation to faith in Jesus Christ in Romans 3:22. So, the Southern Baptist Convention rejected the 2011 update because of the gender neutral language. The Lutheran Church Missouri Synod rejected its use. While the translation's accuracy has been debated by many, the NIV is still printed and fully supported by many various denominations. So let's take a look at the one that I have. I have a cover on it that I made for it, as this is an older Bible. We begin with the presentation page, church records and marriages, wife's family tree and husband's family tree. I really like this. A lot of the newer Bibles do not include the family tree lines. I wish they would. This was a very nice thing to have to be able to pass down from generation to generation. It has births and deaths listed, special events, and then a page that says the New International Version of the Holy Bible. Then we get the Holy Bible, New International Version, containing the Old Testament and the New Testament by Zondervan, Grand Rapids, Michigan. And we've already talked about the copyright. We begin with the contents, the books of the Old Testament and the New Testament, the preface of the book itself, the Bible itself, and the introduction. The introduction is very, very short, as you can see. I mean, it's not even a full paragraph, I wouldn't say. The Old Testament begins, and we start in Genesis, and it gives you an introduction to the book, outline of its contents, and starts with wording. This is a larger print version with thumb indexing. And we will skip right on over to the New Testament, to Matthew. And we start the New Testament with a page that says the New Testament. If I can open this up. There we go. The New Testament. Matthew begins with an introduction to the book, outline of contents, and then we get into the book of Matthew. I will read Matthew, the chapter 2, in this version that I have so that you can understand how it reads. And it says, After Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea, during the time of King Herod, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem and asked, Where is the one who has been born King of the Jews? We saw his star in the east and have come to worship him. When King Herod heard this, he was disturbed, and all Jerusalem with him. When he had called together all the people's chief priests and teachers of the law, he asked them where the Christ was to be born. In Bethlehem in Judea, they replied, for this is what the prophet has written. But you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For out of you will come a ruler, who will be the shepherd of my people Israel. Then Herod called the Magi secretly and found out from them the exact time the star had appeared. He sent them to Bethlehem and said, "Go and make a careful search for the child. As soon as you find him, report to me, so that I too may go and worship him." After they had heard the king, they went on their way, and the star they had seen in the east went ahead of them until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were overjoyed. On coming to the house, they saw the child with his mother Mary, and they bowed down and worshipped him. Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold, and of incense, and of myrrh. And having been warned in the dream not to go back to Herod, they returned to their country by another route. And that will give you just an idea of the wording and how it reads. Once we skip on over to the book of Revelation, we conclude it and begin with a table of weights and measurements. This is very handy. It tells you the metric measurements and it gives you the approximate American equivalents. So, definitely a handy thing. It has a concordance to the NIV, an introduction to that, abbreviations for the books of the Bible, and then we have the concordance here that is quite lengthy for one, which is nice. And then once the concordance concludes, we get into some maps of the areas in time. And not very many maps, there's just a few. There are no pages in the back for testing your pens and highlighters. Bummer, I really like that. But that is an overview of the one that I have. Now, keep in mind, this is an older version. I do not have the new updated 2011 version. So you would want to look that up before purchasing one of this version for yourself. But guys, that has, in conclusion, everything that I've looked up on the NIV version, the TNIV, and the NIVI. So if you have any questions, please leave it down in the comments and I'll be glad to answer. If not, then I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. It really helps YouTube to see that you're enjoying the content and puts it out to more people for viewing. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.